landscapes and deep scars. And he has found a mother.
She's had a place in my life from the very beginning. She's the one I spent 9 months with before I was born. This place will never be lost. I'll never forget it. Only destiny decided otherwise 35 years ago. Now I have a life and a family in France.
Amela knows that family reunions can either be the start of a new relationship or the end of a cycle.
There is no ready-made path. In some cases, the children who were adopted abroad stay in touch with their Salvadoran families. In other cases, they come to El Salvador or get online to be reunited with them, but that is all they're looking for. They have questions and a certain curiosity towards their past, but not necessarily more.
Meanwhile, Eduardo and all the families torn apart by the conflict will keep on fighting to unearth the truth. All so that an entire generation of victims' fathers, mothers, uncles and aunts, sisters and brothers can finally put the past to rest.
Lawrence Cavilier and Mathieu Coman revisiting El Salvador for France 24. Well, that's all from this week's edition. Don't forget, of course, you can catch it and all the previous editions as well on our website at France24.com. More news coming up very shortly. Thanks for watching.
It's the world seen from Paris. Hi everyone, I'm François Picard. Join us for the France 24 debate, the crossroads between different perspectives, rival interests, and your feedback. Only on France 24 and France24.com.
Culture Daily. Every day, France 24 fills you in on the latest in the world of culture. In your Encore magazine, meet the artists, get to know them and their work, watch them and listen to them talking about their creations and the era we live in. Stay up to date with all things cultural in France and around the world. Get your culture fix daily on France 24 and France24.com.
Donald Trump becomes the first U.S. president to be impeached twice. 10 of his fellow Republicans joining House Democrats calling for him to be held accountable for the last week's deadly mob attack on the capital. Ugandans head to the polls following an election campaign that's been fraught with violence. Outgoing leader Museveni is facing off with 10 opposition candidates. And Italy's ruling coalition on the brink of collapse after former Prime Minister Matteo Renzi removes his party members from the cabinet. This over disagreement about how to use a multi-billion-euro EU coronavirus recovery fund. Welcome to the France 24 newsroom in Paris. I'm Alexander Rawcott. Now, Donald Trump has become the first US president to be impeached twice, with 10 Republican lawmakers joining the Democrats in the House of Representatives in backing this move. The decision made exactly a week after a pro-Trump mob stormed Congress. The violent assault on the heart of US democracy led to the deaths of 5 people, including a police officer. Yana Lee takes a look at what is to happen next.
The US House has impeached Donald Trump for a second time, but this doesn't necessarily mean he's being kicked out of the White House. In the United States, it's up to the House to formally bring charges against an official. Then it's up to the Senate to hold a trial and hand out a potential punishment, such as removal from office. But the chamber is currently in recess, and Trump's term ends on January 20th. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is trying to convince the Majority Leader to reconvene lawmakers as soon as possible.
We could come back ASAP and vote to convict Donald Trump and get him out of office now, before any further damage is done.
Mitch McConnell, though, maintains there's no chance of a fair trial in such a short time. However, the Senate's top Republican remains ambiguous at how he himself will vote.
I have not made a final decision on how I will vote, and I intend to listen to the legal arguments when they are presented to the Senate.
McConnell's hesitation means Trump isn't out of the woods yet. Even if the president has left office, the chamber can technically hold an impeachment trial. For the Senate to convict Trump, there needs to be a 2/3 majority of members present. If the chamber is full, it means 17 Republicans would have to side with the Democrats. Convincing Republicans isn't the only issue at hand. Democrats are torn over the timeline for the Senate proceedings. Some are concerned that an impeachment trial would bog down Joe Biden's first days in office, stalling his cabinet confirmations and his legislative agenda. The president-elect has urged senators to find a way to deal with their constitutional duties as well as his priorities.
Moving on now, and Ugandans head to the polls today to pick their president and parliament. The long-time leader Museveni facing off with 10 opposition candidates. The campaign has been fraught with violence, and many of the capital's residents have fled to rural areas to avoid potential electoral clashes. This next report is sent by our correspondent in Kampala.
There's only a few hours of service left at this restaurant. Its owner is closing up early.
We are closing our business because of elections. Because we see in that elections there can be some problems like troubles. Other people, they can die. In those troubles, they can steal our things.
Yoneki packs her bags as she prepares to escape Kampala. She plans on being away from the capital until next week, after election results are announced. Many fear an eruption of violence if one of the 11 candidates doesn't accept the outcome of the vote.
Usually at this time, there are normally a lot of people coming back from work and then others going away from their working places. It shows that people are in fear of what might happen.
Chisa isn't planning on leaving, but she will lock herself at home. She intends to stay indoors, especially on election day.
What I'll do is to lock myself inside here and hope for the best and hope for the security, the army to secure us and our lives. The most we can do is to lock ourselves inside here and have everything we need and wait for the situation to calm down.
Kampala is still scarred by the pre-electoral violence in November, in which at least 54 people were killed as security forces cracked down on protesters.
Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has booked a plane ticket to fly to Moscow on Sunday. One of President Vladimir Putin's most prominent critics, he's been in Germany since late August after falling violently ill aboard a flight. Western experts concluding the 44-year-old had been poisoned by a Soviet-era nerve agent. Alan Gainsford has the story.
After a long convalescence in Germany, following an attempt on his life using the Soviet-era nerve agent Novichok, Alexei Navalny says he's now well enough to return to Russia. He's not expecting a warm welcome.
Я читаю новости, которые приходят из Москвы обо мне, и просто диву даюсь, насколько Путин снова топает ножками и требует сделать все для того, чтобы я не вернулся домой. Уголовное дело против меня, и оно такое демонстративно сфабрикованное. Вчера СИН заявил о том, что они требуют в суде превратить мой условный срок в реальный, и я, значит, немедленно должен отправиться в тюрьму.
Navalny was poisoned last August, falling ill on a flight from the Siberian city of Tomsk to Moscow. The pilot made an emergency landing, but he was in a coma by the time he reached the hospital. After being transferred to Berlin for treatment, German military scientists were able to confirm he'd been targeted with a nerve agent. Results backed by labs in France and Sweden. In an embarrassing incident for the Kremlin, Navalny conducted a sting operation on one of the Russian security agents alleged to be involved in the attack. In a taped phone conversation released in December, he apparently tricks him into revealing details of the operation. For his part, Vladimir Putin has denied any involvement in the incident, claiming if Russian security agents had been involved, they'd, quote, probably have finished the job.
Italy's former Prime Minister Matteo Renzi has pulled ministers from his small centrist party out of the cabinet, leaving the coalition without a majority in parliament. The move threatens to throw the Eurozone's third-largest economy into political chaos at a time that it's battling a surge of COVID-19 cases and a deepening recession. Renzi had long been at odds with the current Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte over how billions of euros would be spent from the EU Coronavirus Recovery Fund.
Leaving Italy's ruling coalition on the brink of collapse, former Prime Minister Matteo Renzi announced on Wednesday that cabinet ministers from his party Italia Viva were resigning their positions in government.
La democrazia ha delle forme, e se le forme non vengono rispettate, come è accaduto purtroppo in questo anno fin troppe volte, allora qualcuno deve avere il coraggio anche per gli altri di dire che il re è nudo.
Renzi had long threatened to quit government, complaining about Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte's plans for spending billions of euros promised by the EU to relaunch the Italian economy. Despite the resignations, Renzi said his party could be open to backing a new administration led by Conte.
Le forze politiche dell'attuale maggioranza hanno voglia di affrontare i temi che sono sul tappeto da mesi, lo facciano, ma senza rinviare ancora. Siamo pronti a parlare di tutto, con tutti, senza ideologie.
It remains unclear what Conte or his main allies, the Five Star Movement and centre-left Democratic Party, will do next. The coalition parties could attempt to renegotiate a new pact with Italia Viva, almost certainly opening the way for a major cabinet reshuffle.